Hi everyone, it's Jess with Kinder Stampo, and today I wanted to do a quick tutorial to show you how I use my Pro Markers to create this fun tag. This image right here is by Unity Stamp Company. It's one of their itty bitties, and it's called Frazzled, a really cute image. And it went perfectly well with one of the sentiments from the Kinder Stampo through Sunshine and Rain stamp set. This is one of the newer releases, has a lot of really fun sentiments and a lot of fun fonts that you can play with. You can stamp them directly on your projects as is, or you can go ahead and cut them and piece them on your projects like this. So I'll move this over to the side and then I'll show you how to get started. So here is the package that I am talking about. These are called Pro Markers. They're by a company called Letraset and they're based out of the UK. I just recently discovered these and I absolutely love them. They work just as well as Copics. However, the price and the quality I believe is much better compared to Copics. I find that the blending of these markers are much smoother and they're really awesome for beginners. I think even if you've never colored before, these will make your projects look as if you're a professional colorer, and I'll show you how I do that. So let me move this over, and just so that you know, the paper I'm going to be using is the Georgia Pacific white cardstock. This one is 110 pound weight. I get this at any of my local office supply stores, or even at one of the big box stores like Walmart or Target. They tend to carry it. So you see, it's not very expensive paper, but with that said, it kind of adds to the quality of the markers, because if you can color on even the least expensive quality paper, could you imagine how amazing it'll look on even more expensive paper? So what I'll do just for this project, I'm going to go ahead and take my rubber stamp, and I've already gone ahead and put it on a clear block. When you're coloring with any kind of alcohol inks, you're going to want to use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It's spade resistant and it doesn't react to alcohol inks, which is really awesome. So I highly recommend this if you're using either the Pro Markers or even the Copics. It works well with both. So I'll just go ahead and take my stamp pad, and I like to ink on the stamp, not stamp on the pad. I get better coverage like that, I think. So I'll just put this over to the side. And then you guys know that I'm left-handed, so I always turn my paper on the side when I'm stamping, but I'll go ahead and correct it once I'm done. So we'll just stamp the image right in the center like that, so you'll get a really pretty, crisp image. Okay, so let me just open up this package and kind of show you how it works. I happen to get the package that's called the Letraset Blending Set Pastels. It says it comes with 12 colors, and it does, but what it fails to say right here is that it also comes with a blending marker. So if you need to use just a clear blending marker, it also is included here. So it's an amazing value. I think this set right here is excellent for a beginner because it includes all of the colors that you need to get started, because there's 2 colors for the skin, 2 colors for the hair, and obviously these colors are interchangeable. It includes some greens, some blues, some purples, and some pinks. So you obviously can use them for female and masculine projects. And then it comes in this really cool case, and they're all in here. So again, the 2 browns, 2 pinks, 2 skins, 2 blues, 2 greens, 2 purples, and the blender. And I'm going to use pretty much all of the colors in here, but you'll see how quickly I'll be able to go through this project. And without using any special techniques, I'm kind of going to color the same way that I would color with my crayons or just with regular markers. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a better view of how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my browns. And I know when you guys are doing Copic coloring, a lot of times you tend to do your skin first and then do your hairs, because I know that when you're doing layers and tones and shading on hair with Copics, they tend to bleed quite a bit. the tips are quite saturated, whereas these are just as saturated, but the way that the tips are made, they don't bleed. Actually, I haven't had an issue with bleeding at all. So let me just open one up so I can show you. There's two tips on these, and this is the fine tip. So that's the fine nib. And you notice that it looks like a regular marker, but it works absolutely wonderful for doing all of your detailing. And then here is the broad nib that it's similar to the one on Copics, and works well for larger areas. But I tend to use just the fine nib. I think it's perfect for all projects, and I tend to do smaller images like this, so now I don't ever really need the broad nib. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and use the tan and the putty for my hair, and I'm going to start with my tan because this is my darker color. And what I tend to do is I try to follow the outline of the hair when coloring. I follow kind of what the artist has done. So if she has any shading in any certain areas, there's where I add all of my darkness. I'm not one of those folks that kind of follow the light because I don't really know those techniques, but I know that if the artist has done some shadowing on the image, that's probably where she wants me to intensify the color. So that's a really just quick tip and good guideline. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some color, and you'll see how I'm just kind of laying it on here in no particular way. I'm just adding a little bit of highlight with my tan. And I love this color because it's just a really nice color tan, and it's so soft and pastel-y looking when it lays down that it's just a really smooth look. So I'm just layering it on, and again I'm just following wherever the artist put her shadowing on the little curls here. So there goes that. So now I'm done with that color. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take my next color, which is a putty, and this is just a lighter shade. And with this, I go in and I just color the whole area. I color in the whiteness and then cover the area that I colored before. There's no perfect way. I kind of just use it like I'm using a pencil or a pen or even crayons. You'll notice that you don't have to do that circular motion because everything is going to blend really, really perfect. So for those of us who are beginner crafters or beginning at coloring, I think these markers are absolutely perfect for that because you don't need to think about coloring or, you know, whether you need to have a special technique or anything like that for these projects, because no matter how you color, the colors will absolutely blend together perfectly. So it's kind of foolproof is the way that I like to see it. Excuse me. The next thing I'm going to do is I wanted her to look a little country chic, so I'm going to go ahead and do her eyes in wood and her little heart right here in wood as well. So again, I'm going to take the darker color, which is the tan, and I like to do my darkness on the right. That's kind of my rule of thumb. So I'm just going to add some dark coloring on the right here, and then some dark coloring on the right of the heart. Then I'll go ahead and take my lighter color, which is the putty, and then just fill in the area. You see how I'm not doing any really fancy techniques? I'm just filling in the area that I left white, and then layering another layer of the light color on top of the dark. And you'll see right here that you can already see the shadowing on there. So I'm done with my browns now, and I'm gonna go move on to my skin. And for the skin, I'm gonna go ahead and use two colors again. That's all you need. You don't need 3, 4, 5 colors. 2 colors work perfectly, and these are vanilla and satin. And I'm gonna take my vanilla and I'm just gonna kind of just stroke along the hairline and along the face. That's all I need. And again, no circular motions, just kind of drawing in nice little strokes like that. And actually, I'll do that also on the hands. Again, doing it on the right sides for the darkness. And then I'll go ahead and put my lighter color next. Then I'll use the satin to fill everything in. So again, I'm going to go right on top of the areas that I colored previously with a darker shade, and then fill in everything else with the lighter shade. Okay, so that's nice and filled, and then I'll do the same thing, covering the little hand, the area colored before, and then just filling in the white area as well. And I'll do the same thing to the legs, just filling in the whole area with that. So now I'm done with the skin. Super easy. The next thing I'll do is I want to add some color to her cheeks. So I love, love, love pale pink. So I'm going to go ahead and use this and just literally do a little circle on the face like that. You'll notice that it's a little intensified now, but once it dries up, everything will blend really smooth and seamlessly. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the clothing, and I'm going to go ahead and do two colors. I'm going to add some purples for the trims, and then I'm going to do the main area in pink. So let's go ahead and start with our purples, and I have two colors here. This is a lavender and lilac. So again, I'm going to start with my darker color, and this is my lilac. And all I do is I'm going to go in the areas underneath her neck with a little bit of darkness, and then I'm just going to go and add a little bit of color on the bottom of the little ruffles, just so that that area is a little intensified. I'll do the same thing here. The artist went ahead and did like some shadowing in the area underneath on the top of the cuff and underneath her slip. So I'll put the darkest color there, and then I'll go in with my my lavender, and fill in all of the area with that lighter color. And I'll do it down here as well, and again on the little cuffs. The next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead in with my pink, and I'm going to use two colors. This is baby pink and pale pink. I'm going to start with my baby pink, and this is my darker shade. So again, I'm just going to put the intense color underneath the ruffles. And then my rule of thumb with this is I kind of go on the outlines of the lines, but only on the right side, because again, I'm trying to make it look so it's highlighted. So I keep it within the lines. And then on the bottom here, and then I do the same thing on the other side. And then there. So it's kind of a backwards L that I'm doing, if you guys can see that. Then I'll go ahead and take my pale pink, which is the lighter color, and then I'm going to fill in the whole area with this. Again, you can do it in circular motion if you like. You don't have to. You can even do just straight brush marks on here like this, because again, it's going to all blend really, really nice. Trust me, it's right now I'm coloring as if these were just like my regular Crayola markers or my Crayola crayons. Super, super easy and super foolproof. Just make sure that you cover the whole area, including the one where you put the darker color, because that's going to allow the blending to combine really well. So you guys see how it's lighter in the middle, and then it's just the highlights around the outer areas. I'm going to go back in with my darker purple, and I'm going to fill in the center of the heart just with one color, just because I want that to be that color as well. Then I'm also going to take my pinks now and my purple to color in my little socks. So again, I'm going to use kind of the similar technique from right to left, and I'm going to use the darker pink, which is the baby pink, on all of the bigger areas. So I'm going to color the inside of her little sock the darker pink, but then on the stripes, I'm just going to add a little bit of color on the right hand side. So again, I kind of just do the right to left. And I'll do the same thing on every other stripe on the little socks with the darker pink. And now I'll take my lighter pink and fill the whole area up. So this is going to blend it, and you'll see the highlights in a second. Just really, really love how easy it is to use these markers. I'm telling you, if you've been thinking about coloring digis and have been afraid to try it, don't be afraid, because these are pretty much foolproof, these markers. So here we go. So now again, I have my two purples and my lilac is my darker. So I'm going to do the same thing, just add a little bit of color on every other stripe on the right hand side. So the intensity of the color is always on the right for me. And then I'll fill it in with the lavender, again, filling in the white area and also covering the area which I've previously colored. Excuse me. Okay, so now you guys see how I've already finished coloring my little image, and already she looks super duper cute and sweet. But I want to add one more little detail, and it's something that I've noticed a lot of folks have been doing lately, and I've noticed that the techniques are not as easy to do, and a lot of colors are generally used when doing this, is what I'm going to add a shadow around my little image. And what I've noticed is you can either do it in blues or you can do it in gradations of grays. But in this case, I use one color and one color at all, and that's it. And you'll see how easy it is for me to do this. So the one that I'm using is the pastel blue. I absolutely love it. It's a little more intense when you lay the color down, but once it dries really, really beautifully. But so let me go ahead and get started and show you how quickly and easy this technique is. So all I do is I kind of just do swirls all the way around the area. So I'm just kind of creating a faux outline around my little image. And you'll see how this is actually adding this little detail to your image is going to make this pop enormously. So I'm just literally going around in a circular motion. You don't have to do circular motion. I just makes it easier for me to just color and make sure that I get all of those areas. And you guys are already seeing how much brighter and intense the colors look with the blue outline versus the one that doesn't have it. So just for show, there goes the one without, and there goes the one with, and it just looks super, super cute. And who would know, putting blue as like a neutral in the background. It kind of makes it look like, you know, there's that faux sky. And again, I'm just coloring in circular motion. And I fill in all of the center area because this is, again, background, and you want to make sure that it's all completely filled. Then I just simply turn it around and continue to do in circular motions all around this area like this. And filling in the little areas around the arm. And then just continue all the way up. Again, keeping really nice strokes. It's kind of, you're doing about like 1/8 of an inch of color around the area. So it gives it a really nice border, but it's not too thick and not too thin. Okay, so how quick was that? Literally took me about 2 seconds to do it and gave it a really different look. So again, here's another example of how I used it on a project. And then I'll show you a few more that I colored earlier as well. So here goes one that looks similar to the one I did, and then one with some green. So again, super duper easy, really fun way of using them. So if you guys are have been afraid of trying to use alcohol ink markers, don't be afraid. Get yourself a set of Letrasets and happy coloring. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Bye.